Hi guys, I'd like to share my little collaboration to a Screenshot Saturday this week with you. I'm working with a friend of mine, Matt Wolk, on this little flying game, and one of the things that we needed to figure out is a terrain shader. Now, I've played with a lot of different terrain shaders, and a lot of them are really complex, and for this I wanted a more simplified version of a terrain that I can easily modify and that is really flexible. So I'll show you some of the features of this particular shader, and then I'll go in and kind of show you the graph and how it can be customized. So in here you can see I have a base mat and I have two additional layers. Base mat, what it does is it has a slope detection, so if I go in and I sculpt in a little bit of a terrain, and to make things more fun, let's grab an alpha and sculpt the terrain, you can see it automatically detects the slope and starts to change the material for it. And there is also a height detection, so things that are higher up start to get grassy material. Things that are lower down are they got the sandy, dry terrain. So these two features allow me to just quickly generate a base foundation for the terrain based on its shape, and it's really good for massive lands. It decreases the amount of work required to produce the basic sculpt. Now, then there's also the additional painted layers. So I have stone here, and what this one does is it lets me paint a darker version, darker terrain, and I can then go back to my base and decrease its influence here. And you can see I'm revealing more of that brown ground. I can also add some moss. And it supports the displacement, so as you can see, there's the terrain is being displaced. So I can have fun and paint it the way I want it to. And all these, like these two layers, I can plug in whatever material I want into it, and we can also replace, like potentially add more layers if we need to. So that's cool. Now let's look at the actual landscape material. So it's not too terrible. It's actually pretty simple. Here's my height blend. Here's my slope blend. And what I do here to make it more modular, I'm actually using material function to create basically presets of materials. So here you can see I have grass, and I have individual displacement intensity for each layer. There's a rock, so if I open one of these, they're all the same. I have the inputs, I have all the textures, and I have outputs. There's nothing really to them. So let me show you some of the customization that I can do. So if I open the material instance, because the shader is already compiled, I can do some changes here. So our first layer, it's grass, so I can adjust the tiling. I can adjust the displacement. We can make some pretty funky alien landscapes this way. And the same goes for every layer. So if layer 2 is I think it's our dirt, so I can add to it, and you can see it creates an interesting little variation in the terrain here. We can also adjust its styling, and you get the idea. So, or like if I go here and I crank this one up, it looks like the ground got dug up here. So using the displacement to create different types of effects, and tiling as well. Probably tile a little bit too much, but yeah. there's a lot of possibilities here. Now, the height blend, it's using absolute world position, so basically it's using world units to detect how it's going to be, how tall the peak of the terrain needs to be to apply the material. So if I set it to 0, you can see only much higher pieces of land get the grass onto it. If I set it to minus 5,000, you can see everything gets the grass. So that's pretty cool. And then there's also the sharpness variable. So if I set it to 0, it's going to be really sharp. And if I increase this to, like, say 500, you can see it's a lot softer gradient. So something like this can be used for, let's say, snow, because it doesn't distribute evenly. There's like some terrain could have only a little bit snow, and then there's heavy snow. So that's a really cool feature. Then there's also a global displacement. So I can completely get rid of the displacement by setting it to 0, or I can crank it up to get super funky terrain. Let's actually fly above this. That looks like an alien planet. So, last but not least, let's just do a quick, let me put the terrain down to, I think it was 50. Let me show you how to modify this. So let's replace the grass with snow. And I went ahead and I created a thick snow cover function, and literally the same thing. It's a color, height, and normal. I'm not using any custom roughness yet, but I probably will eventually. So if I go to the master material, I'm going to replace the grass with thick snow cover. So let's take this, put it here, and all I need to do is unplugging the connections from one and plugging it into another one. Okay, and just gonna save it. It'll take probably a minute or so to compile the new shader. And what I'll do eventually is I'll create several variations of these where you can, like, for snowy terrain, I'll have all the snowy functions here. For the grassy, I'll have all the grass. Or potentially what I could do is also have a switch that can switch between grass or snow based on what kind of landscape I'm working on. And that would be also fairly simple to accomplish. I'll just need either a switch on each 4 of these connections, or something that's kind of like does everything at once. Haven't really thought about it. So you can see already we are having a more snowy feel to this land, and it's pretty cool. So while it's compiling, I'm going to go and adjust some of the settings. So displacement, because it's snow, we can go maybe a little bit higher, and then maybe a little bit less dense, so there's less details. And it's especially good for the area like this. Because it's a top-down game, I don't want too much noisy details. So if you compare something like this to something like that, it's looking pretty good. So let's test it. And take this ship for a ride. You can see we have a pretty cool snow. And this terrain is literally just a very quick test. It's not. It's the height map on it is I think I had like a broken height map that I exported from a world machine that's not really working properly, but it was a good test. So in here you can see the dirt is just slightly covered by snow, and then there's a heavier snow in the mountains. So it's pretty cool. Alright, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and send me a message if you have any questions or would like to try this shader out. Cheers.